What's going on, everyone? Time for another video. And in this video I want to talk about putting yourself in situations in order to force yourself to grow. It's one of those things that we've all heard before, but it's just kind of another conversation I was having with someone today where the topic came up and I kind of reflected on it later on in the day, and I actually just got out of the gym, and so let's use that as an example. Well, first of all, before we use that as an example, let's just kind of recap on a little bit of the conversation I had with my coworker today. We were talking about how in order to grow at all in any way, you have to be uncomfortable. I can't think of a way that someone can grow without being uncomfortable. And then we started talking about the gym and how in order to grow big muscles, in order to get more endurance, in order to get stronger in the gym, on the racetrack, or on the hiking trail or the backpacking trail, or whatever you do, horseback riding, you got to be very uncomfortable. Not just a little uncomfortable. You got to be very uncomfortable in order to elicit the type of growth response that you want, in order to be above average. In order to be above average, you have to go into situations that don't just make you a little bit uncomfortable, that make you very uncomfortable. Because our minds are designed to keep us comfortable. Our minds are designed to help us survive. But at the end of the day, your mind doesn't do a very good job of helping you thrive unless you make conscious decisions about what you're doing and make conscious choices about how you spend your time and what you expose yourself to. So I just got done with another workout, like I said, and I pushed pretty hard in the gym. I pushed so hard that I can really only afford to go to the gym once, maybe twice a week. And the reason I do that is because it saves a lot of time for me, and by the time I hit my next workout, I'm recovered enough to go hard again, and I'm not overtraining, because I work a construction job, like I've said on this channel, and on top of that, I own a business doing commercial janitorial cleaning. I do gutter cleaning, roof cleaning, dry vent cleaning, and minor like exterior vent repairs and alterations. And that kind of leads me into my next example. I just got done on Saturday returning to a job I thought I had finished, but I ended up having to go back. And it was probably a 16-hour day doing something that wasn't really in the original contract, but I went back and did it anyway because, you know, I'm technically the contractor responsible for that job. Someone gave me the lead, someone provided me the work, and they're taking their chunk. But at the end of the day, the liability of that job falls in my lap, and so it's up to me to kind of appease the customer. And this job was a very big learning experience for me. Number one, to be a little more cautious and mindful about things as they arise. Like, I kind of had a gut feeling as I was doing this job. The first time I visited the job, I was kind of wrapping up and finishing up, and I kind of had a gut feeling that, you know, I was probably missing something. And I kind of just ignored that gut feeling because I really wasn't sure what it was. But I remember seeing a bird fly into one of the vents. And later on, sure enough, a few days later, I get a call from my guy, or he actually texted me and told me, hey, the manager at that place is saying that birds are still chirping in the vents. Can you go back and check that out? So I had to go back up to Seattle, 3.5 hours away, and install mesh covers over every exterior vent in order to prevent birds to come back in, if that makes sense. And so I used basically galvanized stucco wire, like the stuff that goes on houses before you do stucco, to give it strength. And I chose that because it's a wider mesh so that debris from the vents can still have a little bit of a way to escape, but also because it's galvanized, so it'll hold up a little bit better in the elements as an exterior product. So that situation is very uncomfortable because I don't know if any of you have been on a ladder over like 20 feet in the air. But once you get up above 2 stories on a ladder, it gets pretty sketchy. Let's just put it that way. It gets pretty sketchy. You definitely get a little bit of adrenaline going, and it's very nerve-wracking. So I was at least 30 feet in the air on a 32-foot ladder, dangling. And not only was I 30 feet in the air, but I was next to a ledge, which was like an additional 10 feet in the air. So I'm way up in the air, kind of just trying not to look down and get this shit done as fast as possible because, you know, I'm kind of freaking out up there a little bit. And it just, it really put things into perspective. Like, this situation was so uncomfortable that I really learned a lot from it. I learned a lot about my own capability, and I really surprised myself. And that's kind of another thing I want to talk about in this video. I know I'm starting to ramble a little bit, but you're never going to know how far you can go until you give yourself an impossible goal. The job I just did on Saturday is what most would call impossible. Most people would not have touched that job. I had to carve a notch into a hillside, a steep hillside in dirt and bushes and stuff, in order to set up not a 10-foot ladder, not a 12-foot ladder, a 32-foot ladder to go 3 stories up in the air on a dirt hill with bushes and shit, because I had to get it done. Failure was not an option. I had to just figure out a way to get it done, even if I had to go back to Home Depot and maybe upgrade to a 40-foot ladder, which would have even been more ridiculous. But I managed to get the job done. And at the end of the job, I just really had this miraculous feeling of, wow, I really just accomplished something that was making me nervous. I wasn't too sure about. I thought I might have had to back away from, but I bit down and got it done. And it was just an amazing feeling. There's no better feeling than completing an impossible task. And so basically, to recap the video, you have to put yourself in not just uncomfortable situations, but really uncomfortable situations. Like having a new baby, taking a promotion at a job. Those are some examples of situations that are going to make you really uncomfortable. Not because it's difficult, but because it's so far outside of your comfort zone and so far outside of what you're used to, that it just, your brain and your neurons, your neural pathways are just not, they're not accustomed to it. There's no neural network corresponding to those actions. So anyway, guys, hope you liked the video. Just want to get in the habit of getting some more content out there again. And I figured I'd hit you guys with a quick one on my way home from the gym. But anyway, I'm home now. Hope you guys have a good night. Talk to you soon.